الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. As we have discussed in the last two nights, this particular verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed for us a fasting so that we can be God conscious. And our aim in these nights, insha'Allah, is together to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We discussed in the first night about the double IQ, if you were here, the Islamic IQ we called it, and this is gaining knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we talked about ways to try to do that. And of course we are referencing Sermon 193 of Nahj al-Balagha of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, a fantastic sermon which I highly recommend everyone to read and contemplate on. It basically describes the characteristics of al-Muttaqi, this person who is God conscious, and it actually does refer to lay people like you and I. Okay, so it is quite a practical sermon, Khutbatul Muttaqeen. And yesterday we moved on into the second of the three Qs, so to speak, the EQ, right? And we called it the IEQ, the Islamic EQ, and this is having the best of akhlaq. And again, we referenced Sermon 193. We talked about, anyone was here? What can you tell me about yesterday's talk? What did we talk about yesterday? One main theme we talked about. Anger. Thank you very much. Someone was awake yesterday. Alhamdulillah. So we talked about anger, and we referenced the Quran, كَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about those people who are actually restraining their anger. And anger can be a good thing. Sometimes when we face oppression and we face injustice, we need to restrain anger. But it can be destructive. We talked about anger can be like fire. It can be useful and can be destructive. We focused on the aspect of destructive. We did a reflection session where we asked about, have you ever been in a situation where you've been angry and you have been quite destructive? Maybe you've upset your wife, maybe you've upset your husband, right? And maybe you've upset your friends because of your anger. And then we talked about something which I truly believe in, which is all about thoughts and your mind, and how does the mind work, and how are thoughts manufactured, and the relationship between thoughts and ego, right? And the thoughts actually feed the ego. The ego sometimes is threatened, and it triggers these emotions, triggers these angers and the other emotions. Today, inshallah, my brothers and sisters, and this is what we have always referenced in, for those people who is first time they've joined us today. This is what we are referencing throughout the series of lectures, is the three Qs, the IQ, the SQ, which is the spiritual intelligence, and the EQ. So the IQ and EQ are about knowledge and emotions, and the SQ is about meaning and purpose. And this is what the al-Muttaqi is, in my point of view. You gotta have knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to have the best of akhlaq in terms of controlling your emotions and emotions, people around you, and your spirituality. You have to awaken the soul. And this is the sign of a God-conscious person. So today, inshallah, we'll continue with that theme, and we'll talk about something else in the sermon of Al-Muttaqeen, and refers to, again, the IEQ, the best of akhlaq. Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, which today we commemorate his martyrdom, right? And we remember his fantastic sayings. And if there is anything that we take from these nights, is we remember this great person. And we don't just remember him by just loving him. I say, I love Ali ibn Abi Talib. No, but we also remember him from his wise words and wisdoms that he's left with us in Nahj al-Balagha. And this is one piece of the sermon. This is one of the passages, and he says, those people who are muttaqeen, those people who are God conscious, remember, just reflect on this as I recite this, reflect on this and say, am I this particular person? We're all ascribing in these particular nights to be God conscious, and I am the first out of all of you, right? I'm trying really hard. Yesterday I tried to reflect at night in my beautiful hotel that IES have booked for me, magnificent hotel, down the road. I sat down in the room and I tried to reflect, and I'm doing that, and I hope and wish that everyone else will do the same, inshaAllah. Ali ibn Abi Talib says, منطقهم الصواب. Their speech is to the point. And remember yesterday we talked about how you should make sure that you understand your thoughts, right? Don't just say whatever the thought comes in. So when I am actually talking to friends, sometimes gossip, right? And when we talk about certain things, have you watched this movie? Did you see this guy? Did you see this girl, what she did? What was she wearing in her wedding? What was she doing in her thing? Did she wear this particular shoes? Did she have makeup? Did you whatever? Okay, that's fine, right? But there is a line you have to draw. There's definitely a line. It becomes too much of a gossip, right? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say the characteristics of a mu'min in Surah Al-Mu'minun? Someone tell me, please. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ No one wants to say it. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ. And then what's after that? وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Yes? Those mu'minun, the first characteristic of a mu'min is that they are what? Submissive in their prayer. They have this khushu' in their prayer, right? But the other thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the second thing, He said, عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Those people who do not include themselves in speech that is not really beneficial to anyone, all right? And it becomes a form of laghu, becomes a form of, perhaps it reaches a stage where it becomes actually haram. Certain cases where you do ghiba, perhaps, backbiting, or you might actually do talk about other people not in a right manner, right? It becomes laghu, too much of wasting time. And we are very good at that. So what Imam Ali alayhi salam says that their speech is to the point. You know what you're saying. One of the signs of al-mu'minun as well is they speak less. Not like me, you see, I have verbal diarrhea, right? I speak every time. But that's my job, unfortunately. But the thing is that sometimes we talk too much. There are people who are extroverts and there are people who are introverts, right? You know the difference. You know yourself if you're an introvert and an extrovert. The difference between an extrovert and an introvert, they say, is like when you get into a party, excuse my example, this is how I've been taught, but when you enter a party, the extrovert says, hello, I'm here, everyone, say hi, how are you doing, salam, etc. This is an extrovert, they're outward people. Introvert comes into the party, goes to a particular corner, says, give me some time, I want to settle down, and then I'll start talking to people, right? And introverts are usually good at talking to people who are they close to, like a husband and wife, etc. So, perhaps extroverts need this more than the introverts, but let's try to make our speech to the point. Their dress is moderate. Yes? Not you have your jeans, you put it down, show your other stuff and walk. This is not the sign of a mu'min, a muttaqi, right? Their dress is moderate. It doesn't have to be CK or GK or AK, whatever these are, right? It doesn't have to be like that. Primark is absolutely fine. It is fine. It's all about modesty. It's all about, yes, a mu'min should look nice. And I am absolutely for that. A mu'min should look presentable. Unfortunately, we have some of these, you've seen these ISIS guys. They just, you don't want to really look at them. They're just not presentable at all, with their beards coming, like that. It's not presentable at all, right? But a mu'min should look presentable. Absolutely, wear the best of clothes. But it doesn't have to be, extravagant clothes. It should be a modest clothes. And you know how to measure that. I can't tell you, but you know how to measure modesty. But what we want to talk about today is their gait is humble. It's the way they walk. They are very humble. وَمَشْيُهُمُ التَّوَاضُعُ. When they walk, yes, they are very humble. They don't sort of exaggerate when they walk. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Yes? He says in verse number 18, chapter 31. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. He's telling the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. And do not turn your face away from people. You know, have you seen certain individuals? Maybe because he finds certain person not really at his or her class. Or certain people I know, unfortunately, we have this in London. A lot of people we've had influx of, a lot of people have come from Europe, right, to London. I don't know, I think they've come to here as well. And I find certain people have got, you know, people who have always been in London, they were brought up, they find themselves as a higher class than those other people. Why have these people come here? You know? And they turn themselves away from these people. This is not the sign of a muttaqi. You welcome everyone. A mu'min and a not mu'min. Okay, you welcome them. This is the sign of a great mu'min. وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not turn your face away from people in content, nor go about in the land exulting overmuch. Right? وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. You know, it's what we talked about just now is أَشْيُمُ التَّوَاضُعُ. When you walk, you're actually humble in your walking. Let's be conscious of these things in these nights, right? Even the walk is very important. What does Imam Sadiq alayhi salam say in this hadith? Sallu ala Muhammad. كُونُوا لَنَا دُعَاةً صَامِتِينَ بِغَيْرِ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ. Right? If you want to call for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to be an ambassador. You're going to be a role model in society. Yes or no? Right? We're all ambassadors, especially at these times. Inshallah, on Friday we'll talk about Islamophobia and the rise of Islamophobia in the UK. Right? So, especially in these times, I've got to be the best ambassador, especially for our young kids. You are mu'min. You should be proud of yourselves. You are a Muslim. You're a mu'min. Have your chin high. You're a mu'min. Be proud, confident. But also at the same time be humble. Yes? Be humble in the way you walk and the way you speak to people. And he says Allah does not love any arrogant boasters. Okay. I think I need a salawat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. واقصد في مشيك واغضض من صوتك إن أنكر الأصوات لصوت الحمير. And pursue the right course in your going about and lower your voice. Have you seen certain people just calm down? No need to shout. This is a mu'min, a muttaqi, someone who speaks quietly, speaks in a right tone. Right? Have you seen certain people dominate a discussion, a debate, because they are so loud? These are extroverts, right? Or a very nervous introvert, right? But it's usually an extrovert. Calm down. You know, try to lower your voice. إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. The worst of these voices, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, is the voice of the donkey, right? So he's trying to say that if you do raise your voice, you are like, you know how to fill the gaps. We go back to Sermon 193 of Nahj al-Balagha. What does Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam say? لا يرضون من أعمالهم القليل. Right? When I take these passages, I try to also refer to the other lessons as well and get back to our topic. Right? Today's topic is arrogance and pride, but I still refer to the other things because they are fantastic lessons we can all learn from. These are the characteristics of a God-conscious person. You want to be God-conscious? لا يرضون من أعمالهم القليل. They are not satisfied with their made good acts. Right? They're not just satisfied with just helping. They want always more and more. They want to do more. Look at all these volunteers in the IUS today. Right? There are people all in that, behind that room working so tirelessly so they can serve you. But they won't be satisfied. They want more. These are the signs of al-muttaqin. Right? لا يستكثرون الكثير, and do not regard their major acts as great. When you speak to those people, they say, oh, look, this is very simple what I'm doing. Not people who boast and say, oh yeah, today I'm very tired. I worked so much for the IUS. I put these, I tidied the room and stuff. They don't boast about these. They say, look, what I've done is very simple. These are the signs of al-muttaqi. فَهُمْ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ مُتَّهِمُونَ. They always blame themselves and are afraid of their deeds. Always they need to do better. They are never satisfied with what they do. They always want to do better, help more people. Right? These are the God-conscious people. This is where we want to focus on today. إِذَا زُكِّيَ أَحَدٌ مِّنْهُمْ خَافَ مِمَّا يُقَالُ لَهُ. Now, this is very important. He says, when any one of them is spoken of highly, they say this. How many of us, when we are spoken highly of, right, people come and tell you, oh, this is amazing what you said in front of those people. Oh, that's an amazing lecture. Wow, mashallah, you must be, close to imam or something, right? We have this nature in ourselves, which is fine, of actually praising our lecturers and scholars and stuff, which is very good. They need praise, they need scholar, they need sometimes admirations and things like that. But it's important that we have to try to not do it too much. Yes, they are worthy of praise. Don't misunderstand me. The lecturers, mashallah, they go through so much, and our scholars, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prolong their life and give them reward. They do so much. But when we praise them, let's praise them, but not too much, because we don't want to be sort of idolize a particular person. They're all human beings, right? We have no idols in our role models, our imams, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallu ala Muhammad. This is a sign of al-muttaqi. If you are going to be praised, please remember this dua. I've tried to memorize this dua, because sometimes my wife praises me for some reason. Yes, you never know. Sometimes, not always. Imam Ali alayhi salam says this: if you are praised, say this dua. أنا أعلم بنفسي من غيري وربي أعلم مني بنفسي اللهم لا تؤاخذني بما يقولون واجعلني أفضل مما يظنون واغفر لي ما لا يعلمون. He says that I know myself better than others. You speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After they've praised you, you go and speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say, oh Allah, I know myself better than others. And my Lord knows me better than I know. Oh Allah, do not deal with me accordingly to what they say. Right? So it doesn't get to me. You know my ego, remember the ego we talked about? It just starts to say, yeah, oh wow, amazing praise. Right? And make me better than they think of me, and forgive me for the shortcomings. You guys don't know what my shortcomings are. I've got lots of sins and lots of shortcomings, right? So I have to go, and yes, people might have praised me, but I go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask Him for forgiveness, and they don't know my shortcomings, oh Allah. This is the sign of al-muttaqi. Not when they are praised, they go and boast about it. It's fine, praise people. But it all depends on how you react when you are being praised. Do you actually take it where you raise your ego and raise your chin and walk, تمشي في الأرض, where you walk in the streets with like so much boasting, right? Or you walk tawadu. Yes, put your chin up, walk straight, but with tawadu, with modesty, which they do not know these shortcomings. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? These are one of my favorite verses in the Quran. Okay, everyone should have favorite. They're all magnificent verses. Yeah, but let's choose some of our really favorite ones. Yeah, these are one of my favorites. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He says, تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةِ. You want to know what Yawm al-Qiyamah is? Who is Yawm al-Qiyamah for? Right? Assess yourself. Say, am I going to, not Yawm al-Qiyamah, am I going to Jannah? تِلْكَ الدَّارَ here refers to the paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look, paradise is for two people, two kinds of people. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا. I have created this paradise for those people who do not, what? Have no desire to exalt themselves on earth, in this earth. Right? Those people who are not arrogant, those people who are humble, they don't have this pride in them. MashaAllah, subhanallah. There's a narration that says someone came to Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam and sallu alayhi. The first salawat was very good. This is very weak. It looks like it's coming close to the iftar, so it's becoming weaker. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He came to him and he told him, I want to accompany you. I want to come with you, right? And there is another narration that I have heard. It says that one of them came to one of the imams, said, I want to sit with you. He said, look, there is a condition here. This is not arrogance, wait. If you want to come with me, accompany me, there's a condition. He said, what is the condition? He says, you must not, when you accompany me, praise me in my way, right? Don't keep on saying, oh, you're amazing, you're this, you know, I'm so lucky I'm being with you. No. Because he is a muttaqi, our imam. He is mutawada, he is modest. So there was an online survey that was conducted, I found in one of the papers published, on the Amazon's Mechanical Turk, it's called. Around 335 people were surveyed. It showed that as many as 84% of the respondents reported encountering arrogant behavior. Maybe at work, yeah, this is mostly at work. And whoever works here, I've seen it when I'm in my office. There are, I mean, in fact, a majority of people I know, I can't judge, of course. I don't want to be judgmental, but it's obvious sometimes when people are very, very arrogant, yeah? At least once a month. And as many as 46% of the respondents admitted behaving arrogantly themselves. You know what's coming, right? A reflection. Now, before we do this reflection, I want you, because of what we talked about yesterday, into how to actually try to understand thoughts, yeah? I want you to try to practice a bit of mindfulness. Again, don't make this as a flop. Bear with me here, yeah? The thing is that once you're going to do this reflection, inshallah for 20-30 seconds, right? You are going to get a lot of thoughts in your head. Maybe some of the thoughts is what is going to be for iftar today. Is it like yesterday? A bit spicy, right? Maybe you're going to think about, why is he doing this reflection? Why did I come today? This is so bad, right? I wish I had stayed at home sleeping, right? Maybe that, you know, you are bored. A lot of things will come in your head, right? What I need you to do is, because, you know, when you do reflection, your mind starts to play around. And this is normal, absolutely normal. That's why we need to practice in these holy nights to do tadabbur, to do reflection. There's narrations that say Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi used to do reflections, right? So when a thought comes in, what I need you to do is I need you to acknowledge the thought. Say, okay, thank you, thought, for coming, right? Don't, even if the thought is a really good thought, don't judge the thought. Don't say, oh wow, that's an amazing thought. Or even if the thought is a really bad thought, don't say the thought, oh, this is such a bad thought. Don't judge it. Don't become judgmental. Just accept whatever thought it is. Acknowledge the thought. Accept it. And just say, thank you for visiting me now. I'm not going to pay attention to you now. I'm going to go back to what I really want to think about. In mindfulness, they say, go back to your breathing. Go and scan your body. Right? This is when you want to become in this no mind phase. Yeah? Everyone with me, or? Yes? I'm going to do an experiment with you. I've done it many times before, right? Some people have heard this, so forgive me. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about anything you want. Just anything. Don't think about this. We'll come to this later. But do not think of a pink elephant. Don't think of a pink elephant, okay? You are not allowed to think of a pink elephant, but think about anything else you want in the next 10 seconds. Go. Right. How many thought of a pink elephant? A lot of people, you must have thought of a pink elephant. It's because what you're trying to do is you're trying to block the thought. By blocking the thought will think it's important, so it will keep on coming back. You shouldn't block the thought, acknowledge the thoughts. There's a difference, and it will take you perhaps ages to master this. I don't expect you in these brief few seconds to do this. But what we've got to do is acknowledge the thought. This is really good in salah, my brothers and sisters. If I'm going to improve something in the holy month of Ramadan, let's improve our salah. And I hope and wish, I'm going to talk about Laylatul Qadr later on if I inshallah have some time, but hope that you do join us tonight in trying to together become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these holy nights, right? Because we're going to go through certain reflection sessions, and I really need myself to practice these things in this holy night. So I'm going to take 20 seconds of your time. I want you to reflect on this. Am I actually an arrogant person? Think of this really, really well. Because if you are, then these are the best of nights for you to change. Because that is not the characteristics of a God-conscious person. You know how to assess yourself. I'm not going to tell you. Try to, if you want, close your eyes. If a thought comes in, acknowledge the thought and go back to this reflection session. 20 seconds, inshallah. Okay, inshallah that was useful. Please do continue these reflection sessions, inshallah, when you have some more time. We have some Indians here, that's great. You must have seen this before, right? It's an Indian sort of script that says that they introduced 6 blind people to an elephant. Blind people, they haven't seen elephants before, right? So they introduced them to an elephant, and they told them each to describe what actually they are touching and feeling. One of them said, oh, this is a snake. Feels like a snake, where he was touching the tail. Some of them said, oh, this looks like a wall. This is a wall, right? The others said, oh, this looks like a piece of bone here, whatever, okay? So each of them gave a different perspective. Why have I shown this? The reason why I've shown this, my brothers and sisters, the moral of the story, and you can get lots of morals on this story, but we have a tendency to overestimate how much we actually know. There are people who are very dominant, and they actually will never listen to any other point of views. They say, no, this is my point of view, that's it, I'm not listening to anyone else. They're very arrogant, and they have this they're very proud of themselves, right? Which in turn means that we often cling, we are very stubborn. We're very, very stubborn to our beliefs while tuning out opinions from different people. We tune out. Right? I don't care about your point of view. My point of view is the most important thing. You must know people like that. I know several people like that. When you talk to them, they think they know everything in this life. They're experts in everything. Everything, even in my speciality, sometimes, not my speciality in terms of the scientific speciality, they think they know better than me, right? Which they have no background in that. So it's amazing how certain individuals, they think they know everything, and they will not respect your opinion. We generally believe we're better or more correct than everyone else. What we need to do, my brothers and sisters, is be intellectually humble. This is a scientific phrase. intellectually humble. What does that mean? That means that unlike general humility, okay, we say you gotta be humble, right? Which is defined by traits like sincerity, honesty, unselfishness, yeah? Intellectual humility has to do with the understanding the limits of one's knowledge. Everyone sitting here and me standing, our knowledge is limited. No one here is superior. They have all the knowledge in the world. Right? Narration says that we know a drop of water in an ocean of knowledge. That's the only thing we know. Don't be arrogant, do you think you know everything? You don't know everything. Yes? We don't know everything. Let's respect other people's point of views. For goodness sake, I've seen so many fights and arguments because people don't respect other people's point of views. And it's ridiculous, it really is. I've seen it so many times, and I'm sure you guys have as well. Why don't we respect, even if I am younger than you, respect my point of view. Maybe I come from a different perspective. Yes, you might be older than me. Yes, you might be wiser than me. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean you don't listen to my point of view. Even kids, we should listen to them because sometimes they come up with very, very wise things. Yes? So let's have this attitude where we respect each other's point of views. Whatever the point of view may be, whatever it may be. You know, someone did a quick study, they found out that, you know, there was a conversation between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Iblis. Allah gave so much time for Iblis to speak, and this is Iblis, and this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave him so much time to speak. He took his opinion. Why can't we respect each other's point of view? In WhatsApps, in all these things, people just, no, you're wrong, etc. Fine, have a discussion. Let's have a respected dialogue without offending anyone. Don't offend anyone. Why can't we have a discussion without someone actually getting upset and leaving? It's because of this pride, of this arrogance that we have. Suggestions. Be open to other people's point of view, as we've said. Recognize when you are wrong. How many of us actually say I am wrong? Have you ever said I am wrong? If you're talking to your wife, oh husbands, have you ever said you are wrong? Oh wives, have you said you are wrong to your husband one day? When you had an argument, both are saying I'm right, because the ego is high, arrogance is very high, no humility, no intellectual humility. I know the best, I know best, right? No one says I'm wrong. Maybe eventually you are wrong, you know. I know I've been wrong many times. Compromise. That's the way to do this. If you still think you are right, try to come to an agreement and compromise. Now, I'm going to change slightly the discussion, but the same theme is arrogance and pride, and go to something which I really believe is a danger in our communities. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So, I've searched on the scientific papers to find out the relationship between social media and arrogance. And strikingly, there is a lot of similarity. Let me show you examples of this is a paper published in 2017. It says the relationship between addictive use of social media, narcissism and self-esteem, findings from a large national survey. And they did a large national survey in Norway. What did they find in this box, which you can't see, so I've tried to make it bigger. Their findings say that addictive use of social media has become an area of increasing research interest. This study examined addictive social media use in over 23,000 participants. Addictive use of social media, now don't take this literally, but this is the finding of this paper. They say that was associated with being young, female, and single. Right? And look, I'm not trying to point certain people out here. But if you're young, female and single, that's a critical time. And I'll add the males as well, okay? But this is the scientific, so I usually refer back to scientific results, but let's add the males as well. But young, single, because you don't have much to do in life, yeah? No offense. Compared to a married person with kids and all that. And high use of social media. The thing is, my brothers and sisters, what this says is this addictive use of social media was related to higher narcissism, right? And it's all about actually, I want to do this because I want to make sure my pride is high, right? And I'm typing in WhatsApp, I'm typing in all these Snapchats and all the other things because I want to be recognized. I want to be out there. I want to be recognized as I am doing this. I don't want to be left out. And this has caused a lot of issues in communities. It has broken up families, has broken up relationships, and also has contributed to the rise of mental illnesses. Right? And also the study says that addictive use of social media is related to lower self-esteem, which another paper talks about the selfie and the self-esteem. Yeah? You know the selfie. Right? The selfie. How many of us do the selfie? A lot, right? The effect of selfies on self-esteem and social sensitivity. And this paper says that they have also found that the selfies actually do affect your self-esteem. Because you want to be recognized. You keep on doing selfies because you want to broadcast to the world, oh look, I am here. Look, this is how I'm wearing. Look at my hijab is like this today. You know, this is the color of my hijab. Oh look, I've got my hair out a bit here, which, you know, and all these things. Look, for the youth, look, this is what I'm wearing. These are the jeans. This is what because you want the self-identity. And we are searching for the self. Whereas my brothers and sisters, your body is not that important. What's important is your soul. It's inside. How many of us do a selfie of our souls? The selfie of the soul. No one? No one does a selfie of the soul? Yes, you might not see the soul, but you gotta see it through your heart. That's the challenge. Let's stop this selfie, continue doing selfies, of course. I'm not against selfie. Next day, Al-Hilli says no to selfies. No, I'm not saying that, right? But what I'm saying is limit it and have a purpose of doing a selfie. Not just I'm doing selfie, look, this is my look and all these things. No, this is not what it's all about. Yes? Let's do selfies of the soul, especially in these nights. Smartphones, let's revise the relationship. What are we saying? In 2014, a study of 2,000 people, I've got the book that I've referenced here, found we check our phones 221 times average a day. By the time we go to sleep, we've spent 3 hours and 16 minutes on our device. La ilaha illallah. I don't know why I keep on going this way. We spend 3 hours and 16 minutes on our phones, average per day. La ilaha illallah. Truly la ilaha illallah. In US, average user touches their phone, ding, 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 2,617 times per day. I'll leave you with these statistics. Contemplate on these. How many of us actually touch Al-Quran 2,617 times a day? Yeah? How many of us spend 3 hours and 16 minutes contemplating the existence of Allah, trying to raise our IQ, raise our IEQ, ISQ, trying to be God conscious? Likes in Facebook and others, right, increase our dopamine. Anyone heard of dopamine? Yeah? Dopamine is a hormone. When someone likes me on Facebook, increases my dopamine. These are the research. It's true. It's true. Honestly, it's absolutely true. Right? Because we want people to praise us. We love that. And it's very, very dangerous for a moment. I don't mean don't like my Facebook things, please. I'm joking. But might increase our narcissism and arrogance and affect our soul. People look for likes and retweets and I don't know what's in, I'm not on Snapchat, but I don't know what it is on Snapchat, right? Whatever it is, okay? People look for these things because it makes them really happier and more joyful, but perhaps more arrogant. I've got like, 1,000 likes in this picture that I posted in my selfie. So, where is your soul in all this? Some suggestions. Turn off all notifications on WhatsApp, for goodness sake. And everything else, Facebook, just turn off all notifications. Except, of course, messages and stuff, that's fine, but notifications that this person is saying this, just turn it off. Whenever you have some time, go and check them. Don't let your phone ruin your life, right? Unsubscribe from redundant email lists. Put all your WhatsApp groups on mute, yeah? Mute. Switch off devices 90 minutes prior to sleep. They've shown studies that it actually affects your sleep because the light affects your eyes. And perhaps there's studies that show that increases in mental illnesses as well. 90 minutes before sleep, calm down, maybe read a bit of the Quran. Have a screen-free day, maybe Sundays. Just no screens at all, completely. Right? I can't do that. But I'm going to try. And I've said this, I regret I've said this now. But I'm going to try, inshallah. It's difficult, I know it's difficult. But we got to gradually, don't just go over to the deep end. Gradually start to decrease. Honestly, it's for our kids out there. I fear for my kids, right? I've got an 11-year-old who's calling, Baba, I want a phone, I want a phone, I want a, because she knows her friends who are also 10 or 11, I've got a group in WhatsApp, for goodness sake. When I was 11, I didn't even know what the world is. Now they know what phones is and how to use it. My 2-year-old knows how to use a phone as well. We've got to be cautious of this. Don't just give your phone to your kids, right? Try to, give them only if they've done something good. But let's try to limit this. The future, I fear for the future, my brothers and sisters. The future, we're going to become robots. Yeah? As mu'mineen, we've got to touch back at our souls. Go back to what is important. Not our body, not our phones, but our souls. We're missing the point, I find. And I am one of them. Instead, meditate, reflect, log into the Holy Quran, not Snapchat. Spend no phone time with family. I've seen families when they sit down, the kids look at you, but you're on your phone. Visit friends, especially those who are sick. Have you ever noticed maybe someone is not in the community, maybe he's depressed or she's depressed, they have depression, maybe they are suffering from a particular illness. Have you picked up the phone? Not WhatsApp. And by the way, just one final point on this issue. Right? I'm passionate about this, so forgive me. Eid, inshallah, it's in around a week and a half. Please don't send forward messages. I'm begging you. What happened to phone calls? What happened to phone calls? Even between family members, you send, Eid Mubarak, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all these things sparking, and that's not genuinely from you, you just forwarded it. What happened to phone calls? Or at least, voice messages where you say, Assalamu alaikum, my friend, how are you? Name them. Yes? Don't just send forward messages. It's become a bit boring, I'll be honest with you. I'm personally not going to respond to anyone who sends me a forward message. See, there's me being arrogant. Here you go. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I have 5 minutes left, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about Laylatul Qadr, switch from our... So in summary, we talked about IEQ, we talked about arrogance and how we should limit that, and practical ways to try to make sure that when I am a muttaqi, I want to become a muttaqi, I am less proud of myself, and whatever opportunities I get, and try to be humble and limit with the use of the mobile phones, and we talked about practical ways to do that. These are very important nights, my brothers and sisters. I just want to give you 3 facts about Laylatul Qadr. 3 facts about Laylatul Qadr. And you might have heard of this, but forgive me, it's a reminder. The first fact is that it's greater than 1,000 months. Now, Mufassirin say 1,000 is just, so that you know how big it is, but it's much more than 1,000. But let's imagine it is 1,000, right? I've done a bit of maths today, okay? It's equivalent, these nights, just contemplate on this. These nights when I'm actually going to go to sleep because I'm tired, right? I don't have time. I'm busy. I want to do this. I want to chat with friends. But these nights are equivalent to 30,000 days. 30,000 days. That means they're equivalent to 720,000 hours. Contemplate on this. 720,000 hours. Equivalent to 43,200,000 minutes. Just the night. From when you break your fast until sunrise. They are equivalent to 43 million minutes. And much, much more. It says, خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ is greater than 1,000 months. Number 2, there are some narrations that say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually decides our year ahead. Yes, this is what qadr is, yes? We believe that it's not all what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually, it's some of it, it's our will, our decision in making things, but there are certain things that Allah will decide for us. If you want to get married, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get married today. Not today, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you get married in the next year. If you want to go to Hajj, this is the time when Allah will write down the list of those people who will go to Hajj. If you want to become a better person, God conscious, ask Allah, beg Him, my brothers and sisters. Don't sleep tonight, please. And on Thursday, which is the bigger night. If you have to go, if you go to work, I know there are doctors here, if you gotta go in the morning, okay, you know how to manage your time. But try, if possible, take the morning off, but do spend the night in worship. And not just worship, reflection. We don't have to finish all the a'mal, but reflection. Beg Allah, beg Him, beg Him, beg Him. He wants to hear you beg Him. Beg Him in sujood, mostly in sujood. Prostrate to Him. Say, oh Allah, give me this. And not just give me, but help me to get closer to you. This is so vital. I will be, inshallah, trying to do this. And third, angels come down to earth on these nights. They pour coming over. تنزل الملائكة والروح. The ruh, narrations say that Jibreel will also come down. Al-Malaika, and the biggest of the Malaika is Jibreel. He will also come down with us. And I truly believe in this. When we're sitting down in Laylatul Qadr tonight, inshallah, I truly believe that Malaika will be sitting with us. And the lucky ones maybe will have Imam al-Mahdi sitting down with them as well. Ajalallah ta'ala. I don't know if we are worthy that he will come with us. Where we pray that he can join us even for a bit. Yes? But certainly the Malaika will join us. Tonight, my brothers and sisters, Ali alayhi salam closed his eyes. With that curtain will be drawn on decades of his life, with Islam was propelled to life against the odds. The same decades now witnessed Islam at the backdrop of its immense successes, struggling to survive. This time when Ali ibn Abi Talib and his line will be offering their lives are readily taken. Very few remained at Ali's deathbed. Only family and very few loyal companions. Thus, secrecy had to be implemented in a telling manner of things to come. The murdered Amir al-Mu'mineen was handing over his duties, but he will not have a state funeral. His killer was to be treated fairly. This was Ali ibn Abi Talib. Only was he to be punished if Ali died. as if to say Ali intended to forgive him if he survived. His funeral procession was to take place at night, away from praying eyes and along the route that passed some of the poor and orphans. Ali fed every night. They mostly didn't know it was Ali that bought them food. This is what modesty. And they must have wondered why he didn't come for the last 2 nights. Where are we with thinking of the orphans tonight? He was to be laid at rest in a place that was not well known and that is now called Najaf. They will unearth a sign left by Nuh of the ark marking Ali's welcome to his grave, a grave that was to remain secret for some time to come. What Ali did not need to say, and that his family understood, was that tonight all the hallmarks of a previous burial at night. Barely 30 years ago, Fatima, his wife and the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, had to be buried in a secret grave at night. Will Nuh have written something else had he known? A poem written by Hussein Saleh. In the cover of the night, carried hidden from the sight, Ali's coffin sails in peace to where Nuh marked the site. It was never meant to be a royal funeral for Ali. To bury a parent at night was custom for this family. Fatima's night was the start. Ali's role replayed her part. The years and the distant graves will not keep their fates apart. Tonight, Hassan and Hussein relieve childhood's raw pain. Like when Ali led the steps, at night they bury again. Why in secret? Why at night? Why the graves were hid from sight? What threats were they death after to restless tyrants with their might? Mightier than those tyrants grew, they piled and piled revenue. The irony was, to sustain, they fought graves kept from view. The mourners outlived their reigns, justice running through their veins. Ali with justice branched through life. His piece of earth, what remains? His piece of earth, what remains? وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ الْعَلِيِّ الْعَظِيمِ. Tonight we recite Surah Al-Fatiha for all the mu'mineen, and also specifically for marhumin of Ja'fari family, Sayyida Shahida Begum, Sayyid Asad Ali Rizvi, Sayyid Raza Muhammad Kazmi, and Sayyid Hashmi Begum. الفاتحة مع الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.